If life can exist here, it could exist on any number of worlds in the universe.
Welcome to WatchMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the most captivating documentaries and docuseries that cover the fascinating possibilities of visits from extraterrestrials.
We were told not to talk about it, so we didn't. What we saw out there was definitely unidentifiable.
Number 20, Ariel Phenomenon.
I was not so frightened in the war zones of Angola or Rwanda as I was when this story hit.
In 1994, roughly 60 school children in Zimbabwe claimed to have witnessed something that changed their lives. They talked about a visit from silver flying saucers and otherworldly beings draped in black, all before the dismissal bell.
I certainly believe the children with some extremely interesting pictures, and there's certainly some of the things they've told me they couldn't have known about. Impossible.
Ariel Phenomenon is a captivating documentary that delves into the story of these students' incredible assertions. The film unearths the children's testimonies while examining the profound psychological and emotional impact on all of those involved. Directed with both skepticism and curiosity, Ariel Phenomenon raises compelling questions about extraterrestrial encounters and of the faith that the people put in their witnesses. With its masterful selection of interviews and individual stories, the documentary expertly emphasizes themes of memory, truth, and the shared human experience.
If I had to describe that day, the first thing that I remember is the light and the sound is the main thing that just strikes me, and then the two shadows. But especially the sound and the light because it was so bright, the sound because it scared me. So.
Number 19, Westall 66, a suburban UFO mystery. When it comes to unexplained UFO sightings, this one had a lot of witnesses. In this case, the witnesses were a group of over 200 suburban high schoolers and their teacher, who saw a UFO fly over their school in broad daylight.
I just happened to be looking out the window, thinking how to fudge my science report. What I saw directly south was something that I'd never seen before.
A few of the former students feature in this documentary about the experience, recounting their memories of the flying saucer purportedly descending near their school in 1966.
Just gradually lifted up, and then went off towards the pines.
To further convince viewers of the odd encounter, the director attempts to retrieve news footage of the day, only to find that it has been mysteriously removed from the station's archive. Spooky.
It still would take me to my grave. What the hell was that?
Number 18. Bob Lazar, Area 51 and Flying Saucers.
My name's Bob Lazar. I'm known for working at a classified base known as S4 out in the Nevada desert near Area 51. And there, we reverse engineered alien spacecraft.
Your mileage may vary with this one depending on how much stock you put into Bob Lazar and his famous story. For those of you who don't know, Bob Lazar is perhaps the most notorious alien conspiracy theorist in the world, as he claims to have both seen aliens and worked on alien spacecraft near Area 51. And even though his story has been tossed aside by both skeptics and ufologists, this doc about his claims that aired on Netflix gave him a monumental platform to spread his story.
The big thing is the suppression of extremely advanced technology and the suppression of unknown science.
For newcomers looking to explore one of the most popular extraterrestrial conspiracy theories ever, start here.
And quite frankly, I could make up a better lie, but I have no motivation to lie.
Number 17, Sean Ryder on UFOs. You may know Sean Ryder as the frontman for Happy Mondays, a rock dance indie group that was extremely popular in the UK in the late 80s and early 90s. What you may not know is that he claims to have personally encountered aliens.
I saw a ball of light whizzing about in the night sky as I stood at a bus stop. I knew there and then I'd seen a UFO.
His lifelong obsession with the idea of extraterrestrials led to a documentary where he interviewed people who have also claimed to have seen or been abducted by aliens. It's not really convincing if you don't believe in aliens in the first place, but regardless of your views on that, no one can deny that these stories are hella entertaining.
What I saw, the fast-moving, side-to-side, zigzagging off.
Number 16, Connected, the hidden science of everything. On its surface, this docuseries doesn't appear to have anything to do with UFOs. It covers a variety of topics, from poop to nukes, with scientists discussing how each subject connects us with our surrounding universe.
Clouds reflect sunlight, so that is a strong cooling effect on Earth's surface underneath.
But if we're connected to the universe, wouldn't we also be connected to alien life? Shortly after the series' release, one viewer found what they believed to be a flying saucer in the episode covering clouds.
Here we go!
It's difficult to make out the object as it races past a plane, but its similarity to UFO depictions in sci-fi films is uncanny. While some have complained about the series' overly enthusiastic host, we still think it's a worthwhile watch for those looking to feel closer to the world or worlds around them. Number 15. UFOs and Nukes, The Secret Link Revealed. Focusing on a series of declassified documents about unidentified flying objects seen at nuclear testing sites, UFOs and Nukes isn't the flashiest documentary to delve into the potential existence of aliens, but it's thought-provoking nonetheless.
It was instant go, instant stop. That object did things that no airplane, helicopter, or any other system that we had in existence could do.
The film places a lot of importance on the credibility of its witnesses, all of whom held important roles at nuclear weapons facilities within the U.S.
He called back about 5 minutes later. This time he was screaming into the phone saying they're looking at a red glowing object hovering just above our front gate.
The former employees primarily describe seeing typically shaped saucer UFOs with solid red or orange coloring, and claim that they tampered with their crucial high-risk work.
And there's a beam of reddish light going down to it. I assume they were taking data with that beam. It wasn't destructive as far as I know. It had to be a data collection thing. I'm sure they scanned the warhead or something.
Recreations of each witness's account help give viewers a better idea of what may have been seen, while documents detailing similar experiences in the Soviet Union serve to strengthen the link between UFOs and nuclear power. Number 14. Curse of the Man Who Sees UFOs.
3 weeks later, something else really related, so let's go check that out. That's not my car.
Christo Ropalo hasn't had an easy life. His father and fiancé both died, his brother stole his money, and his mother disowned him when he tried to convince her to mitigate the situation with his sibling. After facing so many hardships, it's not hard to see why he would look to the stars for solace.
I make sounds from pictures of UFOs.
So then what do you do with that?
Then I put it into a song.
And yet, the documentarian at the helm of Curse of the Man Who Sees UFOs never suggests Ropalo's beliefs come from anything other than a genuine place.
Why you can't see them in the daytime is because they're working and moving around in a spectrum of light. Oh, that was gorgeous.
Though he admits to often playing the Scully to Ropalo's Mulder, he admits that the things he saw with him are genuinely strange and unexplainable.
I found myself playing Scully to his Mulder more often than not. But I don't deny that I saw some weird stuff, too.
It's a doc that will leave you wondering if the truth really is out there in Monterey, California.
We never found the origins of the screams, and this creeped me out. Something weird was going on, and I couldn't explain it. I walked away wondering if Cristo was just a magnet for the bizarre, or if Monterey had a dark sci-fi secret below the surface.
Number 13. The secret NASA transmissions, the smoking gun.
History will surely go on to determine the truth, provided, that is, others within the scientific community are equally prepared to explore the limitless possibilities now before them.
If you are looking for proof that extraterrestrials exist, you may as well go straight to NASA. And that's exactly what this documentary does. This one chronicles the history of astronauts sighting UFOs, but it also contains the titular and mind-bending smoking gun. That is, imagery taken from video cameras installed on space shuttle missions. The documentary takes the raw footage from those cameras and presents them to the viewer in a clear manner. Whereas lesser documentaries would scream, "Look, that's totally a UFO," this one allows you to analyze the footage and decide for yourself. Did NASA capture extraterrestrial life on camera? Maybe, maybe not. You'll just have to watch and find out.
And then they continued as if nothing happened. As if nothing had happened. Yet it's right on tape. Audio, video, and you see the object they're referring to.
Number 12, Mirage Men. Mirage Men is a different kind of UFO documentary, and it's all the more interesting for it. It follows the titular government agents, specifically retired Special Agent Richard Doty. Doty worked for the United States Air Force Office of Special Investigations and claims that he and his team helped perpetuate and spread UFO mythology.
Would we use perception to help shroud what we're trying to protect? Absolutely.
They did this by spreading misinformation and manipulating famous ufologists, all to draw the public attention away from clandestine Cold War technologies and experiments.
If they're convinced that it's from Venus, then there's no way it could be our military. Well, hey, that's awesome. Hell yes.
The government has always claimed that aliens do not exist. Regardless of whether or not that's true, they leave out an important part of the story. They're practically responsible for fostering the very idea that they do.
Whatever's going on, it's happening at a government level. Everything that I do is being watched.
Number 11, Alien Autopsy, Fact or Fiction.
This is purportedly an alien. I question whether you would just spend 2 hours on it. One would surely spend weeks, months, if not years.
In 1947, something happened in Roswell, New Mexico, but it likely wasn't this. Alien Autopsy aired on Fox in 1995, purporting to be a documentary film about its title subject. Although it has since been debunked, with its filmmakers admitting to faking its content, the impact it had on viewers cannot be dismissed. It captured their imaginations and sparked heated debates across the country about its supposed legitimacy.
You cannot fake a motion picture that easily. It would require an amount of technical know-how, of sophistication, that would make the operation not worthwhile.
Due to the film's popularity, Fox quickly scheduled 2 reruns of Alien Autopsy to follow the initial airing, promising that the new broadcasts would add more footage for the public to dissect. Each one brought in more views than the last and helped ignite a public interest in extraterrestrial life that has lasted into the present day.
The organic quality of the legs and the feet, and all that looks very good.
Number 10, Unacknowledged.
This got kicked up to the intelligence community. So by 1992, I was getting visits from the head of Army Intelligence, people inside the National Security Agency, and other 3-lettered agencies.
Unacknowledged primarily concerns Stephen M. Greer, perhaps one of the most famous prominent ufologists in the world. Greer is the creator of both the Center for the Study of Extraterrestrial Intelligence and the Disclosure Project. In the service of the latter, this doc contains a bunch of original purported UFO footage and looks to expose high-level governmental operations meant to sustain UFO secrecy.
At the time, in development. And the second item, B, flying saucers exist, period. C, their modus operandi is unknown, but concentrated effort is being made by a small group headed by Dr. Vannevar Bush.
It presents historical events in a new light and directly points a finger at many prominent and well-known government officials. As with many alien documentaries, it presents what it deems compelling evidence to suggest an official cover-up and is recommended viewing for believers and skeptics alike.
From professional debunkers to CIA-funded committees, our trusted academics and scientists have been complicit in the secrecy.
Number 9, Hangar 1, The UFO Files.
Through the media, we are already sensitized to the possibility of alien life forms.
This documentary concerns the archived files of MUFON. MUFON stands for the Mutual UFO Network, an organization consisting of thousands of members across dozens of countries who study alleged UFO sightings. So if you want to hear of the greatest and most credible UFO sightings of all time, look no further than Hangar 1, The UFO Files. Sure, this all definitely might not transform skeptics into believers, as a lot of these stories are just as bizarre as you probably imagine.
In the late 40s, the U.S. military recovered a spacecraft of unknown origin that utilized extraordinarily advanced technology for propulsion, communication, surveillance, and scientific inquiry.
But they're told with utter conviction. The recreations are entertaining, and it's fascinating to get a glimpse into one of the biggest UFO-believing networks in the world.
An alien-created microcircuitry artifact was delivered to Bell Labs.
Number 8, Love and Saucers. Far too often, UFO documentaries can come across as exploitative of their subjects. There's a sense that the film is laughing at the people they are portraying, not with them. Thankfully, this is not the case with Love and Saucers.
I don't ask anyone to believe a word I say in regard to whatever this is.
The unconventional tale of romance focuses on a 72-year-old man who paints pictures of the encounters he claims to have had with aliens throughout his lifetime, including a female alien that he says is his lover.
I see a woman sitting under a tree, and she gets up and she starts coming toward me.
In spite of his unorthodox beliefs, he appears to be warmly received, not only by the film's documentarian, but by his son and surrounding neighbors.
I admire him that he believes in certain things, and nobody has to judge nobody else.
It's a refreshingly kind-hearted view into a wonderfully weird world that we can only hope exists in this reality.
I knew they were going to come back. I cleaned up the house, washed the dishes. Had to be spick and span.
Number 7, the unexplained.
Is it possible that extraterrestrial spacecraft are repeatedly visiting our planet at so-called UFO hotspots?
The Unexplained covers a variety of bizarre and mystifying topics, from the existence of Mothman to horrifying deadly cults. But the episodes most relevant to its host's sci-fi background are those focused on the possibility of extraterrestrial life.
Those lights that people saw over the city, that was actually flares that we dropped.
The first of these episodes is a fairly basic primer on conspiracies of government cover-ups, titled The Truth About UFOs. However, Shatner takes a more in-depth look at the phenomenon in the show's 5th season, in an episode covering UFO hotspots. Extraterrestrial experts are interviewed about the infamous Skinwalker Ranch, Phoenix, Arizona, and several other key locations known for their repeat visits from beyond the stars.
Can you replay that?
Yeah, hold on. What did it disappear into?
We'll go back and replay this. Is it a portal? Are we seeing portals open?
Number 6, the day before disclosure.
5 minutes later, this happens. And the object appears in front of them at a distance of about 400 meters.
There's nothing particularly original about the day before disclosure. It's just a very well-told and impeccably produced documentary that presents some tantalizing evidence for viewers to chew on.
The film clearly shows the outline and the structure of the object, and also what seems to be the silhouette of two beings inside.
It contains a lot of traditional information, including stories of implants, alien abductions, and interviews with respectable people like scholars and astronauts. Of course, much like Sean Ryder on UFOs, your enjoyment of this documentary hinges entirely on whether you believe these people's stories. There's little evidence to speak of, and skeptics will pounce on the outsized tales. But when the stories are this entertaining, and when a documentary is this well made, it's worthy of note.
They look sort of like half human, half alien. Sometimes they look more human, actually.
Number 5, UFOs, past, present, and future.
They were forced to come up with an answer to really quiet growing speculation that Mantell had been killed by hostile aliens and some flying saucer.
There's something profoundly unsettling watching an older alien documentary from the 70s. There's just something creepy about old, grainy, color-washed footage. As for the nature of this doc's content, it consists of the typical talking heads and barely discernible UFO footage, and it touches on a lot of popular American UFO stories, like the Betty and Barney Hill incident.
It seems a retired Rear Admiral had information about a woman in Upper Maine that purported to have established contact with extraterrestrial beings. 2 naval intelligence officers were sent to investigate.
But perhaps the greatest thing about it is that 2 of its hosts are Twilight Zone creator Rod Serling and none other than Rocky's Burgess Meredith. The star power, stories, and interviews all make this documentary well worth watching.
We came back to the room. We were put back in the car the same way as we were taken out.
Number 4, The Search for Life, the Drake Equation.
And I don't know about you, but when I look up, I can't help but wonder what or who else might be out there.
This is a fantastic documentary that stands out from the pack in a number of intriguing ways. For one thing, it treats the possibility of alien civilizations in a scientific manner, not so much as gray, massive-headed beings that abduct and probe you. It explores the famed Drake Equation, a probabilistic argument that was concocted by astrophysicist Frank Drake in 1961.
I've been intrigued that a simple scientific formula could tell us so much about the existence of extraterrestrial intelligence.
Following a complicated mathematical equation that the vast majority of laypeople really don't understand, Drake concluded that there could be anywhere between 1,000 and 100 million extraterrestrial civilizations in our Milky Way alone. This documentary explores said equation and its conjectures, offering some quite intriguing theories regarding the existence of alien life.
She's convinced that anything that can survive this intense arsenic bath would have to be structurally different, would have unique DNA fundamentally separate from life as we know it.
Number 3. A Strange Harvest. Structured like an investigative news report, A Strange Harvest took a serious look at the serial disfigurement of cows that had plagued ranches since the 1950s.
From everywhere I go, they tell me that it's predators, which I do not believe.
Why do you feel differently?
Because I don't feel a predator can do these things.
While one might initially assume the perpetrators were predator animals, the witnesses interviewed in this documentary suggest that the criminal is actually of extraterrestrial origin.
The incisions a lot of times looks like some type of burn or laser.
Alternate theories, such as the idea that a military aircraft could have been tampering with the animals, are tested but ultimately thrown out. The film even features a therapy session with an alleged UFO abductee who describes seeing the cows subjected to testing firsthand. In spite of the documentary's journalistic approach, its ideas are presented with tense and unnerving score.
I was horrified at the thought of what could do this in broad daylight.
Number 2. Out of the Blue. Whether you believe that there is life on other planets or not, unidentified flying objects themselves are undeniably real. Sometimes there are things flying or floating in the sky that we just can't explain. They're unidentified.
We were told not to talk about it, so we didn't. What we saw out there was definitely unidentifiable.
The true debate is whether these objects are manned by alien pilots, and it's a debate that Out of the Blue confronts head-on. Speaking with scientists, former government employees, and everyday eyewitnesses, this comprehensive documentary attempts to paint a fuller picture of UFO sightings around the world as a means of convincing viewers of the existence of extraterrestrials.
Enormous, inexplicable, probably one of the major sightings in modern history in the country, because a lot of people saw it in Maricopa County, and I saw it too. And we never got to the bottom of it. We never found out what they were.
If you're looking for some alarmingly convincing evidence, but don't have time for a full series, this is likely the doc for you.
Smith was informed that flying saucers exist, and more significantly, the matter is the most highly classified subject in the United States government, rating higher even than the H-bomb.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into Settings and switch on your notifications. Number 1. Alien Worlds. If aliens exist, what would they look like? Alien Worlds rejects the popular idea of little green and gray men, and instead offers science-based looks at what kinds of creatures may actually be able to survive on other planets.
All living things have the same needs. To feed, reproduce, and evolve.
Segments play out like nature documentaries from another world, describing how each of the invented extraterrestrials might be able to survive in spite of their harsh surroundings.
If life can exist here, it could exist on any number of worlds in the universe.
Far from a solely CGI-based science fiction, the show also makes sure to provide context for each of the ecosystems it constructs, often using hostile environments on our own Earth as jumping-off points.
At the top, a constant wind blows between the cold and hot sides of the planet.
It's refreshingly creative and the perfect blend of sci-fi and reality for UFO enthusiasts and animal lovers alike. Did these stories convince you that we've been visited by extraterrestrials? Let us know in the comments.
I'd like to know what we've seen and find out what it wanted. Why us kids?
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.